Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name's Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 12, Afterthoughts. Alright guys, have a real busy week, so I want to get right to this. If I miss anything, it's because we talked about it in the First Impressions review, so go ahead and watch that video to hear everything in the discussion. The opener was cool. There's not much I want to talk about here. I do like how she left Sammy that cookie. However, my opinion is still the same. There's no cookies in hell, Sammy. I'm still a little off about her and Morgan, their little back and forth. Sometimes I don't get it when Morgan's saying some things where he's like, it's like you did it too, and it's like, I was thinking the same thing she says. She's like, no, it's not like that at all. And I was even thinking, like, why would you say that? It's definitely not, I don't know. She's dealing with some compassion right now. She don't want to, throw you under the bus. She's not a snitch. She just wants to move on. But again, still, I'm very curious to see what they do with those two characters moving forward, because keep in mind, and there's so little discussion about this right now, but Carol is changing. We're starting to see a progression of Carol. There's something happening there, even especially her standing up and saying, Rick, why the hell is Maggie here? And then her change is actually interfering with her abilities, because I believe if, she was the old Carol and wasn't distracted, she wouldn't have stopped, and had that moment with Maggie and end up, getting captured. I think they would have been on better guard, let's say. Anyway, I want to jump right to Rick, and a lot of you guys said, yeah, you remember when in the season 6 premiere, Rick said the same thing about getting the walkers, and I kept that in mind when I was rewatching this. I took your word for it, by the way. I didn't go back, but it sounds real familiar, so I'm pretty sure you're right. Andrew Lincoln does some subtleties that I frickin' love, and I don't think a lot of people pick up on them. Even immediately after saying that, when Morgan's like, all like, speaking his mind, and Rick is like, no, that's not whatever. You see his face twitch, you know what I mean? Those little subtleties, like he's just frustrated, but he's keeping his calm and he understands. He's like, okay, if people don't want to kill, they don't have to. Go back and rewatch that, especially the church scene, and you see his little face twitch. It's brief and it's little, but I strongly believe that that's on purpose, and that's a little, twitch for the character because he's annoyed a little bit or slightly irritated with Morgan. One thing I loved about the Rick and Morgan briefly in the church, it reminded me a lot of Dale and the group in season 2 talking about what to do with Randall, and I thought that was such an awesome feeling. When I was rewatching this again, when I watched it the first time, I got a little hint of it and I was like, but it didn't hit me until I rewatched it, and it feels a lot like the Dale situation, where Dale is trying to convince the group and the group is certain about the one thing, but Rick back then wasn't as blunt, as whatever. You saw the fight and the conflict in Rick. Now there's no conflict, and I love it. If you just go back and rewatch, Dale arguing the case or pleading the case inside Herschel's house, and then come forward. Don't even marathon everything. Just watch that one scene and then come and watch this one scene now. Because I did it on Netflix. I jumped over, and then Amazon, I jumped over to season 6, and it's powerful. If you watch the 2 and pick up the subtleties, especially with Rick Grimes, I think it's powerful. So check that out. Let me know how you feel when you watch those 2 scenes back to back from season 2 and then season 6. Morgan does say something that pulls me in. Sometimes it's like, okay, Morgan, we get the idea, but he says something that just pulls me in. This time is Rick is like, they always come back, or something like that. And Morgan says, even when they're dead too. And Rick is like, well, we'll stop them if that's the case. And Morgan's like, I'm not talking about the walkers. Morgan's still pleading that case that if you're dead inside, as a person, as a human being, if you feel like others would have called it being too far gone. And Rick just a few seasons before was telling the governor, a person who should have been his, his mortal enemy, we're not too far gone. We've all done things we didn't want to do and shit like that. Morgan is pleading this case that, he used to be dead inside and he came back. Others can too. And it's, I thought he would start to crumble with that belief a little bit. It does kind of feel like it in the end of the episode when he's building that jail cell. It does feel like he might be starting to waver a little bit, or maybe having some conflict there. I could be totally wrong, because he's coming with it as if, whatever happened with the wolf doesn't bother him at all. Like the wolf could have, and I don't think he knows. I don't think Carol told him, because he told Carol, hey, we haven't talked since that time. time. So I don't think Carol told him that the wolf actually helped to save Denise. And Aaron stands up and tells Morgan, this isn't happening here again. Now, I think that's something we need to understand as fans. To us, the new Alexandrians are just new characters. We're not attached to them. But for Aaron, these are friends. These are family. These are people he has survived with. He's probably not really tight with all of them, but I'm sure there's a couple people who died where he got, close to somewhat, and that's probably crushing him. If we look back at what happened with our group maybe in season 2, imagine if, one of them screwed up and the wolves came and slaughtered half of the people at Herschel's farm. Our characters would have been crushed, and they would be determined to stop that, in the future from ever happening again. So we could kind of put ourselves in Aaron's shoes thinking about it like that. Now this I want to go over briefly because it's kind of common sense somewhat, but I see so much false shit just talk about, what Carol was doing when she was making the numbers. And I know a lot of you were right. I didn't even think about Ryan Samuels. That's Lizzie and Mika's father. I thought he died and he was already a walker and she just he was turning and she just basically put him out. But if you go back, and this is interesting because Carol has she's one of the characters that has the most extreme transformations on the show, and her biggest transformation is off screen. In between seasons. That's crazy. Going from season 2 to 3, Carol changed so much. And then in season 4, her very first human kill. And this is what blows my mind. Everyone says Ed. Not everyone. A lot of the blogs out there or the internet reviewers who just shit out a fucking review immediately. I read like 4 or 5 of them in a row just because someone linked me to one that was just way off. They said Ed was her first kill. No, Ed was already dead. All she did is destroy his brain so he doesn't come back as a walker. From what I know so far, just on screen alone, Ryan Samuels was her first kill, and that's what she wrote down, the R, then the K and D for Karen and David, then the L for Lizzie, then Terminus/Courtyard, she has a number 3. A lot of people are saying, oh, she only killed 2. Well, there's 2 on screen. That's all we saw. Keep in mind, they delete scenes. There's scenes that we don't know about, yada, yada, yada. But also, and this is the biggest factor, Carol might not remember all the kills. Keep in mind, she can't throw in her Blu-ray player what the fuck happened and be like, oh yeah, I killed 5 people. So she's guessing, she's going back, writing these down, sitting in bed thinking about, okay, I killed that okay, there's 3. So the number's not going to be exact because I see some people being like, oh, her number's not correct. It doesn't matter. The one that trumps me is the candle woman. Unless there's a deleted scene, I don't understand that because she only killed the woman in the candle room. But she put a number 4 there. But again, if there was a deleted scene, then, oh shit, okay, that's fine. That's one thing I just want to say. Don't listen to the silly shit. She is trying to think and remember. She might not get the number right or know the exact number of people she killed. So that's fine. Maggie, this is important. Don't forget this. She does stress she made the deal. And with Abraham, this episode, yes, it was the wrong time. Yeah, he could have used some better tact, but the end result is still the same. I do believe he could have used or been a little softer with it and shown, had a little more tact. I mean, for crying out loud. But the truth is, if you're not there, there's no sense in beating around the bush. And I know a lot of people in real life, what they do is it's not there. They know it, but for whatever reason, they're like, okay, let's try to make it work. Let's do this. It's just not there. And that's one thing I love about Abraham is he's blunt. He's just like, that's the way shit is. Boom. But yeah, he could have been a little softer. He did come off as a dick. Moving on to Father Gabriel, he's an A+ in this episode. And I love how he told, or had a little humor with Rick Grimes when he's like, oh, maybe they won't see me. Or it's harder for them to see me because he's in black. Again, love the actor, and I love that he's getting more work on the show compared to the comic. I recently got my mother watching the show, and every time I watch it, I'll text her, and I'll be like, either good or whatever, and then the next day, after she goes to work and comes home, she watches it, or early in the morning, and then she'll message me or whatever. Now, I just recently got her hooked. Season 6 is where she's starting off. She did watch bits and pieces of the other seasons, and I'm trying to get her there. I got her through Fear, so anyone shitting on Fear the Walking Dead is what first got her into The Walking Dead. I pushed that on her, and then now she loves it. Anyway, she was like, that crushed her, where Glenn had to do his first kill, and that is, that is absolutely heartbreaking, especially when you're watching Glenn, and that, hurts. He came this long, and that is confirmed. I know I've seen a couple people like, oh, is that really his first kill? That is absolutely his first kill. He has gone this entire time without having to kill somebody. And I know shit starts picking up from this point on. The guy hits the little fire alarm, shit goes crazy. There's some cons here, I'll be honest, because when people get shot and fall, they all do the flailing arms. Being shot in real life, I don't know if anyone's ever seen it or maybe watched video of someone getting shot in real life. A lot of times, especially in the head, the body just drops. A lot of times you can't even tell if someone's been hit. You know, it's literally just somebody flailing around. They drop after a few seconds, maybe 20-30 seconds, depending on how bad they're hit, what arteries are hit. It'll just blood and puddle everywhere. It's not like the movies. Entrance wounds, they don't explode. It's not a squib. It's not anything like that. And I know it's a little silly nitpick, but in 2016, I just think we could have some more realistic, you know, people getting shot. I don't think we need people, stuntmen, just throwing their arms in the air and falling down. To me, it looks ridiculous. The people running away out of the building that got shot by Tara, and which I believe that was her first human kill too. But anyway, the people that got killed there, that was just took me out of it. I was like, oh shit, really? The audience is not stupid, Hollywood. Listen, there's a percentage out there that just, they couldn't follow it if you read them a bedtime story, you know, afterwards, describing in detail what happened, but screw them. The majority of fans can follow it. You know, we can understand, okay, that motherfucker got shot. And yes, it was a stash house. We saw Abraham go in and the room was full of weed. For those who don't know, hemp is incredible. I mean, it's incredible. If you look at the history of hemp, it's strong, it's durable. You could grow less to make more. It's fucking awesome. I think it's our Declaration of Independence is drafted on hemp paper. Just go and look at it. I believe it's true that Levi's first pair of jeans was made out of hemp, and it was so durable there was no repeat business. Jeans lasted for like 50 years, maybe more, and they went to denim because there's more repeat business. It's not as strong and durable. So hemp, it's not just for smoking. They can actually use this shit if they know what they're doing. Funny enough, a lot of people are saying Sasha and Abraham went in that room and never came out. Sasha came out. She's at the end of the episode. Abraham, however, I could not find him at all. So in my opinion, that's literally, no joke, the last time we see Abraham. If you can find him, try it. But I looked a lot and I could not find him anywhere after going into the marijuana stash house, this stash room. And that's pretty awesome that Negan's, that came out of nowhere. I didn't expect that. That's awesome. And something I actually missed, and I don't know how because it was right in your face, but Tara and Heath did leave. It is official. They did leave to go on the run. And the reason why I'm saying I can't believe I missed it is because they mentioned it a few times in the episode before they left and then right before they were leaving. And for some reason, I just totally forgot about that. So they did leave, which means knowing that now, remembering that now, I would definitely go back and change my predictions. We're most likely getting something that has to do with them either in the next episode or the next episode after that. So Heath and Tara is definitely going to run into some shit out there. Now, as soon as they showed Morgan making the jail, and again, I believe 100% he's making a jail cell, when they showed him, I actually thought that was going to be a little sneak peek of Negan. Not Negan working there, but I thought they would show one of the workers, you know, welding something, and then someone comes running into the room, yo, Negan, homeboy ran away from the outpost and whatever. I didn't think we would see him, but I thought we would see something where someone delivers a message to Negan that they were hit over by the satellites at the outpost. Now that I rewatched the episode, I love how they put Michonne being like, I wonder which one was Negan, because now it's starting to make me really look at it and be like, fuck man, something's gonna happen. They're gonna think that Negan and most of his guys, if not all of his guys, are dead, and they're about to get the realization of a lifetime where it's shit your pants city or piss your pants city, whatever Negan says. They're about to come face to face with either more saviors, which is going to scare the piss out of them, or maybe even the saviors and Negan. With this many episodes, I think they're going to hit another cluster of saviors, and they're going to retreat at least and try to figure out what the next best step would be. Either that or run right into Negan and the saviors and realize, holy shit, we just killed a small group of people that were working for Negan, or a small amount of his actual people. Like, this dude got shit on lockdown. Something else we got to keep in mind, Dwight is there. Dwight either got captured again or he came back on his own. I want to believe he got captured again. I don't think he would come back on his own. So Dwight's there. We're gonna see Dwight again in season 6. And another thing I want to put out there, even though we haven't seen Abraham since he went in the weed room, we haven't seen Jesus either. So he could actually be inside with Jesus, just chilling out in case there's anyone coming, because Jesus is supposed to stay unseen, so it would be dumb for Jesus to go outside, out in the wide open, especially now when there's a situation happening. But that's probably it. I know I was rushing on this Afterthoughts video, and there's probably a lot more I could have discussed. There is more I discussed in the First Impressions review, but I love this episode. I loved it even the second time watching it. Yeah, I'm giving it a low grade. I loved it. I loved how they edited the raid, and especially when shit hit the fan. I think they did that perfect. Even rewatching it a second time, I was still on the edge of my seat, loving every moment, because it's just little flickers. And I think that's why a lot of people miss the weed room. I had a bunch of people message me and be like, what image is that from? What movie? What show? And I'm like, that's The Walking Dead. That was just the last episode. And they're like, no way, really? So yeah, it happened so fast, edited well. Acting, as always, they usually knock it out of the park. And again, one more episode, in my opinion, that proves this is the best season so far, at least in my book. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Now it's your turn. Give me your thoughts and opinions about this episode, and let me know if you loved it or hate it, and what did you think. Put those down in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.